Wow. Hi everybody. It's my turn now. I run things. I'm in charge. David must respect me if he ever wants to return to his seat. Anyway,
Does he disrespect you?
no, but maybe a little. I don't know. He's essentially he's running the show around here. He's the decision maker of the household. I'll admit it. But anyway, he's unavailable and I didn't want to do this by myself, so welcome Sam, everybody. Sam is a good jolly old friend of mine. He's a musician and
Keegan laughing over here like Nadav.
I know, yeah. We also have Keegan helping us out filming today, and he's laughing at me, not with me. Sam is a guitar player in a band called Liily. We've talked about them a couple of times on the podcast. He is a pretty cool dude. He's over 6 feet tall. He's handsome. He has cool tattoos.
You've talked about us? What do you say?
Yeah, we talk about everything on the podcast. We've mentioned Liily. You were one of the music suggestions like probably close to a year ago. It was like, fucking listen to this fucking band.
Yeah, man. Help me get some streams.
Yeah, right. I don't know. But we've talked about you guys plenty of times. Just like playing shows, shit like that. Anyway. How are you, dickhead?
Fine.
Fucking Christ.
That's it. Fine. That's
Fine. That's cool. Congrats on More, the new Liily single, and the video that you and Keegan co-directed.
Did I tell you about the credits thing that I found out about
Yes.
more?
Yes, but if you want to let everybody
Essentially,
else know.
we found out, or I found out, a different way than everybody else did. Because they knew, and then they told me that a lot of the credits that are on More are like Black Sabbath and Cypress Hill because of the bass line that's on there. So then I looked into like all the different musicians that have sampled that bass line or done that bass line, and it's actually like everybody has done that bass line.
Really?
It's insane, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it always sounded a little bit familiar, but I didn't think it was like straight up just the same one. What Black Sabbath song is it? Or
I don't know
Cypress
what
Hill?
Black Sabbath song it is, but I heard the reason why I know it's Black. I know Black Sabbath got credit because when we were giving Cypress Hill credit, they were like, "No, it's Black Sabbath."
Oh my God! They told you no, it's not us.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
So I actually don't know which Black Sabbath song it is, but I do know it's for Cypress Hill. It's the "I Ain't Going Down Like That" bass line. That's the most like identifiable. Like if you listen to Cypress Hill and you see a Liily show, you're like, wait a second.
Interesting.
I know what that is. Yeah.
Huh.
We've gotten called out for it too.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Dylan goes, "Shut the fuck up. We gave them their song credit. They said we could do this.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth."
Yeah. I don't even know if we're like that weird about it. Like we're not like,
I would just aggressively return hate to the people that are calling you guys out for it.
well, it's like, what are you going to do? Like there's only so many bass lines,
Go
you
into-
know?
That's true. There's only 12 notes. The fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
most likely, even if you think that something's original that you're
Are
doing.
you peeling plastic off the tripod? Ah, okay. I thought you were like, now's the time to unpack all of the plastic wrapping on my tripod. Anyway.
Anyhow. Yeah.
Anywho.
But that's the funny thing about More.
Yeah. I love that song. I've been like excited because you showed it to me probably like, I don't know, when did we meet? Because we shared music with each other like almost immediately. Like a year ago? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was what the problem was with this next release, is that a lot of
Oh.
it was the stuff that was finished 2 years ago, and every time we'd play a show, we're like, this is an unreleased song, and there'd be like 10 people at the show that have heard it 9 times.
Yeah, well, so. That's it, but that's always going to be the case, you know? Like, it takes time to make a record.
Yeah, but it was finished, and it was like a record label thing, and we were being halted for many reasons that are not it would take too much time to get into, but
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
It's over now, and I'm like super stoked. I think it's crazy that you guys are doing like your self-titled thing like now.
Can I change the subject?
Yeah.
Because you said c'est la vie. I wanted
Stop it. I don't know if anybody knows about my tattoo.
Well, because I think it's a fun, like, because we both have tattoos. It's a fun thing to talk about, like, tattoo mentality.
That's
and,
true.
like, you have the craziest tattoo on the back of your neck. But it's cool.
Thank
Like,
you. I'm glad that you think it's cool. Your reaction made me think otherwise the
No,
other day because I
no.
literally showed it to you and you just like laughed at me.
Look at me. Like, I don't have any. I have
Yeah.
some.
You just
work-
got fucking lines on your wrist.
I know. I have, like, more pointless shit than even what c'est la vie might be for you.
I was just really drunk one night and I was just like
Yeah.
having a conversation with my roommates and I was like, fuck it, I want a tattoo. Put C'est La Vie on my fucking back.
See, I wasn't drunk, but I also was like, I just want a tattoo and I don't really want to think of something to do. And I didn't pick C'est La Vie. I just picked like
Lines.
it's like a tattoo of nothing. It's
It
like
truly is.
Most tattoos are lines.
Fair.
And
But those lines usually combine to make a discernible thing, like a lightning bolt or a martini glass or the word
yeah, no, it's
or
well, okay.
teeth or a person.
But so are you like pretty like lax about tattoos? Like
Yeah.
you don't
Well, I get
really
more
care?
and more relaxed about it every time I get more tattoos. Did I tell you about my next idea? I'm going to get Porque no los dos tattooed on both knees. Porque no los dos there and Porque no los dos here.
I like the twice thing a lot. That's why I have this.
Yeah.
Because the guy that I stole this fuck yeah tattoo from, he has a tattoo on his leg, a giant tattoo on his leg. This is Justin Billings. He has a tattoo on his leg that says his hometown, Jacksonville, and it says fuck yeah, fuck yeah. And if you ask him why it says fuck yeah twice, he just says it because it's funny. Like, it just cuz. Like, so I think that the twice thing is, like, pretty
And
fucking...
that's why you got Justin Billings. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I have, yeah. I mean, essentially all the tattoos that I've let Justine give me have been, like, just completely...
Does she have a gun?
Yeah.
Is that what she does?
No. She just does it for fun. She's only tattooed, like, our close friends.
Does she
Me,
charge
David,
you?
Jake. No.
Would she charge me?
I don't know. Maybe.
I need more friends that will tat me just for fun.
She probably would. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for her, but you could ask her. They get back Wednesday.
Can I? Does she listen to this? She doesn't.
No,
No,
she
she doesn't.
doesn't.
She doesn't care.
But yeah, I did the bullfrog and the D for David. That was Justine. And then I did the C'est La Vie on my back, which was like the most impulsive thing I've ever done in my life.
You have
I
tattoos.
saw this infographic about ADHD on Instagram, and it was like a thing about ADHD and alcohol.
You and I have the same algorithm. I get a lot of ADHD stuff.
Yeah. And it was essentially saying, like, here are the things that, like, can make that, like, alcohol can do to somebody with ADHD that makes it worse. And then here are the reasons why, like, people with ADHD can be more prone to be alcoholics because they, like, it resolves certain things that ADHD can do to your brain that would, like, make you addicted to that, like, feeling. Like, it calms your mind down. It helps you, like, just not think as much, like, spin your wheels. But it can also do things like make you really impulsive and not think about things too much, which, like, is not always a good thing. So anyway, when it specifically gave the example of alcohol, ADHD, being impulsive, it was literally a picture of a dude with a beer in his hand getting a tattoo. And I was like, I saw this like 2 days after I let Justine tattoo my back, and I was like, yeah, that's literally me. Fuck.
The alcohol thing, what you're saying about the ADHD and the alcohol thing, you could be talking about weed. And I feel like that's what I was doing with weed for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Just because I felt like it was, I don't know.
I've never met anybody who smokes weed like you. You're like a person who chain smokes cigarettes, but it's joints. That's that's crazy, dude. If I smoked literally a 1% of what you smoke in a day, I would have a mental breakdown.
Can I? Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. I don't know if it's
But
a compliment,
also,
but I'm glad you took it as such.
I will say, and this isn't for anybody or any. I don't know why. I don't need to be saying this right now at all. But I was in Copenhagen just now, and it's pretty illegal there. And then I was in Italy, and it was pretty illegal there. So I wasn't smoking weed for about a week and a half or a little longer than that. And then since I've gotten back, I actually haven't been doing that.
Whoa.
So this is past tense now, and I don't really. I just made it less like automatic. I was like waking up in the morning, doing my morning routine, and then starting the day with like breakfast and then or coffee and then smoking weed, and that's just not. I just made it less automatic, less like
nice.
Not thinking
Was there
about
a specific reason that you wanted to pivot from that?
I was noticing physical issues, like when I wasn't smoking weed, I'd have withdrawals and I'd get like body temperature issues where like I'd be super cold, but I'd be sweating a lot.
Whoa.
And
that's crazy.
So like it was nice to be out of town during that, so that I was busy, and our trip was so go that it was good to like stay busy while that was happening. But reason, I mean, I wanted it to not feel it. I was like fully addicted, and I didn't want it to feel like I had to do it every day in order to like regulate how I felt physically, like the body temperature stuff, but also anxiety and overthinking and ADHD, like you're talking about, like all the kind of personal ADHD stuff, because everybody's got different stuff with ADHD. But
I remember when I was like starting to get a little bit addicted to smoking cigarettes, a big part of it isn't like obviously it's the chemical addiction, because cigarettes and nicotine are like very addictive, where like weed is supposedly not, but obviously for some people it is. It's more like
it's addictive, like anything's like fun or chill that's addictive. Like if you find like making music addictive, you know what I mean? It's not, there's no chemical in making music.
For me, it was like a routine thing. I liked the act of smoking, and it was like a good way to like. It was almost like a brain reset or something like that, where I was like, okay, like I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and whatever, like. It would like scratch an itch in my brain, like the act of smoking. That was outside of just like any way that the cigarette made me feel physically. It was just like whatever. And then I was just smoking cigarettes every single time I sat down in my car, and it got pretty close to just being like chain smoking constantly. So, like I would wake up and go to work like 6 a.m, driving to work, and the first thing I would do before like eating anything would be like smoke a cigarette on my way to work.
It's a good way to lose weight.
Well, it's not really what my goal was at the time. But yeah.
Though I don't know what to say.
So you're not smoking as much weed or at all?
No, like this weekend was kind of interesting psychologically. So like right now I'm like just intentionally smoking. Like I'm working on ideas at home, say, and maybe I'm like watching a movie I want to rip from, and I'm taking notes on like a pad while I'm watching a movie, and I want to have like a flow, then I'll puff a little bit right now. I won't like face a joint anymore. I'll like take 2 puffs and then I can feel it. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to watch a movie and have like tunnel vision on like
gotcha,
just flowing through something, or like having like being in the zone, I guess. That's kind of how it started for me too. Cuz I started doing stop motion, and stop motion in weed is pretty awesome.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, it's like moving something like millimeter by millimeter for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And high is the sickest thing.
Definitely sounds like it would make it a little bit less just cumbersome and
like
more interesting.
Like diffusing a bomb. Yeah, no, it's not like that when you're.
Do you want to do more stop motion someday?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like what the problem is it's not something that anybody asks for usually unless they're kind of trying to be
It's a very specific vision.
weird or cool or whatever it
Yeah.
is. It can it can be used in everything. Like you could replace 3D animation or like motion graphics with practical effects and animating things how they used to animate things. And like I've done motion graphics jobs or commercial type jobs where they want to do a miniature, they want it to be practical effects and it not look all digital. But right now it's just so easy to be digital. It's so like there's like 3D artists are making so much money. Like every commercial you see on TV or streaming or YouTube or whatever it is, everything is 3D.
There's something, you know, at the very least, like a 3D logo is like superimposed
or
in
like
there.
Car commercials right now. Like there's some car commercials where the cars aren't in them. There's like 3D renderings of cars that are. It's like the car's in it, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not footage of a car driving. It's like a car. Like
being assembled by God in a big white space.
Some crazy
where it starts
idea.
with just the axles and then it turns into a whole car.
Yeah,
piece
it's
by
like
piece.
All of those like commercials where you had to know what you were doing before, like a car commercial before, like being able to shoot cars, having car rigs, it looking right and it looking like a car commercial was a thing that developed over time, and then now it's just not like that. It's just let's pay a 3D artist to do this all on their computer, which is cool too, you know, like.
Do you think that like in general though, like graphic or like CGI in movies is the best it's ever been right now? Because I've heard from a lot of people, but also this is something David and I have talked about probably on the podcast, probably more than once. So it feels like it's getting like lower quality.
It depends. I think like a good example for this conversation is Avatar, Blue People Avatar.
Sure.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Avatar and then Avatar Way of Water.
I didn't see the second one, but go ahead.
It's okay, but like the big thing that was happening, like the huge appeal with the first Avatar was like, oh my god, it looks so crazy. Like this fictional place, this like different planet that looks like they're there and it's all computer animated stuff.
Yeah.
And then Way of Water came out and it's like that's how just movies are now. So it wasn't the appeal to the next movie had to have been story, and neither of their stories are that good. Neither of their dialogues are that good at all. So it wasn't like wowing anybody.
The first one's just a fucking Pocahontas rip
The
off.
first one,
so
the dialogue in the first one too sounds like a little kid playing with action figures. And like
true,
like talking to each other.
Yeah.
The appeal wasn't ever like this is a good ass movie with a good ass story that's original. It's just more like, wow, look at this spectacle of a thing. It's like taking mushrooms and going to go see Avatar or something. And
is that what you did when it came out when you were 7 years old?
Yes, probably. I was probably 7. When did it come out?
I don't know, a long time ago.
I'll tell you exactly how old I was. When was that? I was 8. It was 2008.
8 and or 9 years old. Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
8 or 9 years old.
So then, but like with CG, another thing I like to talk about with CG is Black Panther, because Black Panther, I don't want to be wrong about this, it either won or got nominated for special effects or visual effects, the Oscars.
Sure.
And I think it's totally fine for them to work a movie into the awards ceremonies for its cultural significance. Like Black Panther had a really big cultural significance.
Yeah.
But how it is one of the worst CGI movies that you could watch. The fight scene in it is complete. I don't know why these movies aren't considered animated movies. The fight scene in it is completely animated. They have this beautiful suit they made for Chadwick Boseman that fits him perfectly.
Yeah.
And in the trailers even, I think there was some of the trailers where you could see the suit itself, but then when you watch the movie, he's like completely covered. I mean, they did the same thing with Spider-Man too. Spider-Man, his whole suit is all CG and like motion capture.
Yeah.
But the fight scene in Black Panther, again, I'm not dissing the movie for its cultural significance. I'm glad the movie exists, but giving it best special effects, best
Yeah.
VFX, absolutely not.
Yeah. The really popular movies, it seems like, because there was a time where like Marvel was fucking killing special effects.
Yeah.
And it was so good. Like the first Avengers movie for 2012
See,
is
like
crazy.
even like so the Marvel movies I have interest in watching still are like Winter Soldier and
Yeah.
Civil War and
Yeah.
the first couple Iron Man movies.
I think Doctor Strange.
yeah,
like-
and that was like another really big CG movie too.
Yeah, and it was really good.
But
like
the cool thing in Winter Soldier, or the cool thing in the earlier Marvel movies, are the fight scenes are choreography,
yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
not
The
like
Captain America movies are crazy with the fight scenes. They're definitely the most entertaining.
which Black Panther gets introduced in. I can't believe we're talking this much about Marvel right now, but Black Panther gets introduced in Civil War, and his first fight scene is against Winter Soldier, and
Yeah.
he's also fighting against Captain America.
Uh-huh.
All of that choreography is amazing, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is my new favorite superhero. And then they completely took out the fact that he's a good fighter, and they made everything CGI.
Mm.
Like, Black Panther's supposed to be the guy that trained Spider-Man to be a good fighter.
Whoa.
And the Black Panther movie is like, you can compare the fight scene in Black Panther, the movie, to the X-Men Wolverine Origins movie where he's fighting against Sabretooth on the Statue of Liberty. Like they're like defying physics throughout the entire scene.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's like it's fun to watch for people, and I don't think most people notice this kind of a difference, or maybe they
Yeah.
do and they don't care, but I like to give people credit. Maybe they do and they don't care. But it's just not what you and I are talking about right now, of like
Yeah.
having like a dance as a fight scene instead
Sure.
of like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded mean towards cartoons. I'm fine with
Some
cartoons.
are fucking sick. Yeah, I just kind of meant like, I don't know. David hypothesized this a while back, and I thought it was interesting. And also, I think probably true is that it just CGI is getting so much more the norm, so much more accessible. It feels like these studios are starting to outsource it.
Yeah.
And it's not as like people aren't being as thorough, it seems, into making it as fucking good as it possibly can be. It seems like it's becoming more automated. And I think another good example, so we can get out of Marvel movies, the Planet of the Apes movies. I always thought looked fucking crazy.
But
and
anything-
this new one looks totally different stylistically.
But
even though it's a
anything Andy
sequel.
Serkis does, I can respect.
I know. He's the fucking best.
'Cause
I
he's-
love that guy, dude.
Nobody's knocking what he does with motion capture.
Yeah.
Like
There's nobody better.
there's
Benedict Cumberbatch is pretty good, but
that was really great. We talking about Smaug?
yeah.
Yeah, that was really great. And that's like, even with that, there's performance within it. Like, I don't, it with motion capture, it's like he's wearing obviously he's wearing a suit with a bunch of dots on it. But if you get turned into Caesar, you get turned into Gollum, like your performance is inside the character.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the actors just weren't even on set, or there wasn't even a set, and it was completely like the background, the set, everything is computer generated, so they don't need anybody to be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need to take a bunch of photos of Chadwick Boseman's like frame and his proportions, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You turned
Yeah.
into like an armature at that point, which
I
is,
know.
it's again like his fine with Andy Serkis. It's essentially the same thing, but
Andy Serkis is just the fucking man. I love him, dude. I think like every character he's done is insane. Did you watch Andor? Are you a Star Wars fan at all?
I like Star Wars. I have a tough time with the TV shows.
You should watch Andor. Andor is just a phenomenal sci-fi TV show. Like, it's barely Star Wars.
I like everything I've seen on it, like the
It's-
trailers and like the people that are in it. Trinity from
it's so
Matrix.
so good. Wait, Trinity?
Yeah, the Matrix chick.
She's an acolyte. That's the new show.
What are you
that
talking
just
about?
came-
Andor is the guy
Andor.
from Rogue One.
Yes, they made his backstory.
I want
into
to watch
a TV
Acolyte.
show. Acolyte, I haven't seen anything about, and I'm like the biggest Star Wars nerd you'll probably ever fucking.
You don't
meet.
like Acolyte, or you?
I just haven't seen anything
Oh,
about it.
yeah.
I don't know what it's about. I don't like
Andor, yeah, Andor. I didn't realize. I thought you were talking about Acolyte. Andor, I haven't
Andy
given a
Serkis
chance.
is in Andor as well.
Oh hell yeah!
Which
Well,
is
he's-
crazy because he's also Snoke in the movies. So he might. I think he's the only person that plays two different characters in Star Wars. That's pretty sick. Because he's the fucking GOAT. And he's the best actor of our generation.
I wouldn't be surprised if like what's his name, Warwick Davis, the guy that plays like he's one of the Star Wars guys.
Who does he play?
He's a little guy, and he might have been like an Ewok or something. You know what I mean? Like he's like
R2D2?
a creature kind of guy. He might have been. I know it used to be like a vehicle that some little guy would like get into, and like they would drone it
I
around.
like
or
that
he
you're
would,
calling him a little guy.
He's
He's a little guy.
He's an LP.
Give us 1 second. We're just going to cut. Wow. Time is flying. I wanted to ask you about playing live and Liily and your shows and your mentality about playing shows. And like, I guess kind of tell me like what your priorities were with like, or are with like a good performance and what you guys like to do. Because I think you guys put on one of the best shows ever. And it's fucking sick. And I know you're going to get uncomfortable by me saying that, so I won't just shower you with compliments. But just tell me, like, what rehearsals are like and what you guys go for with adapting these songs to, like, a live performance.
Well, performance-wise, like, our stage presence isn't something we rehearse. But at rehearsal, it's usually just playing the songs through till it sounds like we nailed them. Sometimes ideas start out as electronic things, and on the record they're electronic things, and then we have to translate into something that we can play live, and that's fun too. Cause then
You like doing that?
yeah, I do. It's kind of. I also really agree with like rock bands or punk bands or guitar music in general, or like heavy music or mosh music in general, taking the approach of like Daft Punk music and doing those types of structures or those sounds or those bass lines or those drum patterns or drum beats. I feel like when we do have those electronic ideas, it satisfies that thing that I admire of like using a Daft Punk mentality or Daft Punk structure or Chemical Brothers structure for something you'd play with guitar, bass, drums, and singing.
Yeah.
Which that interests me.
You're just also, like, a huge sound design guy as a whole.
I feel like all of us, like, when we're working on new demos, we're always trying to figure out how to put in what a lot of people call what we call, like, ear candy and, like, just throwing in little, like, salt and pepper and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not what the song is, but it's fun to do.
But sometimes those things are what makes a song.
Yeah, I mean, at least
So
appealing.
good.
Yeah,
Like, obviously, like, harmonic structure and lyrics and all those things, the things that everybody understands what makes a song is good. But sometimes the thing that makes the song memorable is, like, the fucking weird shit that you put in it
Totally.
that makes it unique, you
Uh,
know?
Dr. Dre is one of those people that mastered that, like making beats that sound different than each other and adding little like interesting like just production, like producing. It's just really just producing. That's all it is. It's like putting in little colors here and there. But yeah, no. Does that need to?
Yeah, I'll fucking fix it. It's still recording, but
Okay.
it also shows us how much time we've spent talking. So
So the live shows.
Yeah.
Priorities for live shows. Obviously, there's certain marks that you have to hit in every song to make it sound like the song that people want to be listening to.
Yeah.
But outside of that, for the most part, all four of us are trying to not play the same thing every single night. So a lot of the times, if there's a solo, it's not whatever solo is on the record. Sometimes it is, because sometimes it's like a intentional written solo. But most of the time when I'm doing a solo on a record, I don't remember what I did.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 minutes of riffing, and then they pick like a second of that 5 minutes to...
Yeah.
It's almost like comping vocals.
Yeah.
Like they'll like take like the best bits out of
100%.
a bunch of atonal bullshit and put it together to make one thing that's cool.
Yeah.
And then like stage presence wise, I don't know. We've been playing shows together for a long time, so I guess it's developed over time a
As long
lot.
as you just get your fingers to bleed all over the place, it's a good
It's
show.
never intentional. It just is like, I actually used to be a lot more abusive on my hands than I am now. I can't really afford it anymore because we play too many shows.
Fuck yeah.
And it makes it so that it's harder to play the next show and the next show and the next show,
Right.
or like 7 consecutive shows in 7 days in 7 different cities. You're fucking exhausted, and then
And
God,
your
my fingers
are fucked up.
are like tender and open on my nail beds.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's bad. But
Jesus.
I don't know, a lot of it's spontaneous. Like I don't have too good of an answer.
Your music serves that sort of is served by that. Like,
Most people are like,
If
if they're doing it right at our shows, most people are moving around and like dancing to what Charlie and Max are doing anyways.
yeah.
So, and they know this, like if they know our music, if they're there, there's a chance they know our music.
True.
And they know what they're going to be listening to, or they'll recognize the beginning of a song. So you don't really need to play everything perfectly after they already know what they're listening to. You could just make it a one-time thing. But yeah, the spontaneity thing was important to me personally too, because making it so that if you pay for a ticket to go see a show, you're going to see something. You're paying for something that you're going to get and not what someone else is going to get as well.
Yeah. No, that's sick. It's that so as far as like other performers that you love, is there anybody specifically for live shows that you like draw influence from as a performer, or that you just admire? You
like
don't have
their
to say
stage presence or how they play.
how they play, everything, but also like even I'm interested in just like people that you admire as a whole.
Well,
It doesn't have to be people that you're like, I'm gonna do that.
yeah,
and you
no, and
apply
I
it
don't
to
think any
yourself.
of us think like that at
Yeah,
all. But
right.
Frank Zappa made me relax about guitar, and he was the one that, in an interview that I watched, was talking about how if you're playing the same solo every single night, it's a lot like punching a clock, which nobody needs that shit. I think that's verbatim what he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that just makes me feel like I don't need to stress about playing every note exactly right or being 100% in tune every single song, or like,
Yeah.
you can fuck it up. I think early on in playing guitar, when I was a kid and was listening to like classic rock stuff and like learning how to play guitar, Jimmy Page was originally who made me relax about guitar, because he has such a sloppy style.
Yeah.
And that was like before I discovered that I could be listening to music that's not so like popular or like well known, like classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin. But early on, it was like, as a kid, that was life changing, like not having to sound like Eddie Van Halen, because a lot of the guitar players I knew could shred, and I never had any interest in shredding. I
Yeah.
had interest in like writing cool stuff and performing and putting on a show.
100%.
And yeah,
I've always had a similar mentality where like, you know, like if I'm meeting somebody for their first time, I tell them that I like to write music or that I play music. It's like very often people will like focus in on like what instrument you play and like what's your best like like you know, I consider myself a multi-instrumentalist, but I don't play any instrument like fucking Jacob Collier plays all his instruments. You know what I mean? Like I'm not ripping anything
You're not
like
Prince.
crazy.
Or nobody's Prince.
Yeah,
You know, like
right.
or Dave Grohl is also like that too.
But it's like all the other shit that I love, just like that makes everything sound cool. You know. And
You
like,
have an interest in songwriting, and there's multiple vehicles that you use to get there.
Yeah.
And that's like a way for you and I, or for like the kind of people you and I are, it's way more interesting than the person that goes to Berklee College of Music to learn guitar
Yeah.
and how to play guitar.
Yeah.
I've always found it so hard to learn how to play music. Like I didn't do well in music classes ever.
Really?
Just because it was like, it seems so counterintuitive to be taught how to play music.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain skills that are helpful. Like I can still
Obviously,
still read music. Piano lessons were very helpful for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
but
you're
that
a
was
good piano player,
that
though.
was
That's
so early on too. Like I started piano when I was 5 years old. If I tried to like take lessons now, I don't think I would be able to like. If I tried to learn a new instrument and take lessons, it would. It
yeah,
would be
I mean,
tough.
contradicting what I'm saying, I would love to start taking guitar lessons again. Just because it's like
literally the exact opposite.
because of what
you
you're
just
saying
said.
is like basically like having a basic knowledge of the instrument makes it so that you could do what you want to do, but also approaching it like, let's say you're going out on a date and there's a restaurant that you know you want to go to and you know it's going to be good, as opposed to walking down the street and stumbling across something you've never been to before. That's kind of the difference between the two things that we're talking about for me is like,
Yeah.
I know this is going to work because I learned that this works and this is how things work. This is how guitar works. Versus like discovering that something works, but you're not being told that it works. You're not being taught that it works. Not someone telling you that something works, but you just being like, oh shit, this is like new or whatever.
Yeah.
And that seems also way more relaxing about writing music than, I mean, because it never works when you, it will never work if you sit down and you go, I'm going to write a song start to finish right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
I know.
Especially if you're
John
like,
Mayer would like to make you think so, but he's a fucking liar.
no, I've met people who completely disagree. I've met like, there's this composer guy in my building and I told him that and he was like, completely on the opposite end of things.
Well, yeah, but he's a literal composer.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he does is he sits down and fucking writes music from
like
his
writes,
brain onto paper.
Yeah, and like we've never really been like ones like, okay, I'm gonna write down these chords on paper. Like not even that, let alone sheet music. Like it just takes out the riffing.
I gotta send you this interview that I think his name is I know his last name is Bowen. Mark, I think it's Mark Bowen from Idols that he just did. He's talking about how they made their last record, and the producer, one of Radiohead's main producers, produced that album with them, and
good for them.
Yeah,
Holy shit,
it's crazy. And a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, that like where you draw like creative energy from, is very similar to the things that he talks about. I mean, their mentality has always been to push the limits of what a guitar can sound like, which is exactly what I think you do. Like the sound design that you do with all the different delay pedals and that pitch shifter and everything is like, doesn't sound like a guitar anymore. It just sounds fucking crazy, you know, which is sick. And then they were also talking about how like they were just tuning all their guitars for all the sessions by ear. They weren't like perfectly in tune. They were just trying to tune it for the records themselves.
That's
and then
nice.
like doing a lot of like random like tape loop splicing and then playing over that and riffing over those and like building songs from like tape loop ideas.
All those little details are like, do whatever you can to make it not what you expect it to be. Because if
100%.
you're writing music and using only the tools that you know or the tools that you can think of, you're only able to make things that you think of. And because you're literally trying to think of things to do.
Yeah.
If you step outside of that and relax and not really care what's happening and just use your hands as muscle memory. Muscle memory being where you get like learning guitar from, learning piano from. There's techniques and shapes and things in your hands.
Yeah.
And if you're not thinking about it, you're able to make things that you don't know you can come up with. But if you're like, I'm going to do this, 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 you're literally only able to do things that you can think of, which is pretty fucking limiting.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. You're so elegant. All right. Well, we've been talking for a good bit. 40 minutes. Fuck. Crazy.
No way.
Yeah. Any new music that you've been listening to? We always try to do some music suggestions for the people.
Yeah, you told me about this right before.
So did you try?
I drove over here and I was thinking about how I was going to answer this. There's a couple different ways I want to answer this.
Jesus Christ.
I know we're going to drag this on quite long.
Okay. Go ahead.
One thing I want to acknowledge is that I'm not... One, I don't have Spotify.
Why? What the fuck?
I should.
What do you listen to music with?
I should. I use Apple Music.
Okay.
Just because it's always been there and it has a lot of the stuff that I've just collected over time.
Okay.
I don't really
you
feel
don't
like...
need Spotify.
Well, the great thing about Spotify that I was going to say is that Spotify helps you discover new music.
Oh, it does. Hey, pipe down.
Apple does, but it doesn't do it like Spotify does. So Spotify is like a little bit, it kind of like bounces between a streaming service and a social media. So you can listen, you can like see what other people are listening to. You can see what...
trying to make it as social and outside of the realm of just listening to music as possible.
So like if you're looking to like discover new music, it is a good thing. It is the thing of the two. It is the thing to go for is Spotify.
True.
And on top of that, another thing I wanted to say is I am absolutely not the type of person that discovers music on my own. Like most of the music that I listen to are suggestions from people that I trust or I like their taste.
That's cool. I'm so fucking bad at listening to music suggestions from people. It's crazy that I literally have a podcast where I suggest music to people every week because when people send me shit, I almost never fucking listen to
100%.
it. I'm such an asshole.
I do the same thing.
You sending me Parquet Courts is probably one of like 3 times in the last 2 to 3 years that I've ever actually listened to a suggestion that somebody has sent
And if you're
me.
going to take any suggestion, that's the just suggestion that you should be taking for sure.
Sick.
Parquet Courts.
Yeah, they were great.
The other thing I was thinking about on how to answer this question was
any of these answers an actual fucking suggestion?
Yes.
Or are you just dissecting the philosophy of me asking you to tell people to listen to a fucking band?
Well, the suggestion, the best answer I could come up with is that my band has a playlist that is on Spotify. It is called Liily Listens to Music, and we each submit 5 to 6 or 7 songs that we're currently listening to.
Oh, that's cool.
Anybody that wants suggestions, I have faith in the rest of my bandmates' taste in music. And so I'll like look at that.
Nice.
Or I'll ask them what they're listening to. But if you want to know like what we've been listening to, the playlist that we put together is like just what we're putting on in the car right now.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking you to say. So, fucking give me one, you dickhead.
Okay, I mean, I also just came back from London and I have a friend out there and he shows me a lot of like what's going on with British rap music.
Say a fucking artist and a song title.
So, I was listening a lot to I've been listening to on loop every single day this song called PTSD by Nems.
Fuck yeah. PTSD by Nems. Also, that Liily playlist does sound sick, by the way.
And that
I don't mean
PTSD
to rush you.
is on that playlist.
Sick. I don't mean to rush you through your digressions here.
No, it was like a complicated thing for me to try to like tell you. I mean, on the way over here, I was listening to Turnstile and Show Me the Body.
Sick. Fuck yeah. I've been trying to get into Turnstile recently. I've never listened to them.
I'm not like a hardcore guy. I don't
Yeah.
That's not like an area of rock I've ever really like gotten into, but I do like their aggression and
Yeah.
their
It's just sick. Yeah.
they've
100%.
made like heavy music that is somewhat palatable to a larger audience, which I can
Mhm.
respect, and
That's
that's
really cool.
obviously what we're all trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've been meaning to. I want to give Turnstile a deep dive, and Queens of the Stone Age is also on my list.
Queens of the Stone Age reminds me of being 15 years old.
Is that what you listened to when you were 15?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well,
There's nothing
there
wrong
you
with
go.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Guns N' Roses reminds me of being actually a little younger, like 13 years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean by like when I was talking
I
about
was such
Led
a
Zeppelin.
little fucking shit. Me and my friend Jake used to walk around in like 6th grade with like our iPod shuffles playing like just like Guns N' Roses deep cuts, judging everybody else for the music that they listened to. And we were like listening to fucking Axl Rose talk about overdosing on heroin, and we were like, fuck yeah. Literally in like elementary school, just like, what's Mr. Brownstone about? Heroin, kids.
Yeah. I also... No, I shouldn't talk shit right now. Never mind.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, what was the song by that British guy you said?
PTSD.
By Nems.
Yeah.
Okay, PTSD by
It's a
Nems.
pretty funny suggestion coming from
I'm
me.
not going to
but-
suggest anything because I don't have to, and I'm the fucking boss.
No, I want to know what you have to suggest.
I don't.
If it's not for this, then...
Okay, well, I'll think of something later. I didn't think of anything myself. Let's see what this is what I normally do when David and I decide to do this. I go, any music suggestions? And then David goes, nope, I haven't been listening to anything because I don't own headphones. And I go, okay, well, I'm going to go into my liked songs.
That was why it was kind of hard for me, because I don't really listen to music that much.
I have a song called R&B by English Teacher. And I don't remember what it sounds like, but I remember liking it a lot, which is why I liked it. And it's on my liked songs playlist. So everybody listen to
Cool.
that. I've been listening to a lot of just like peaceful piano music, like literally like a peaceful piano Spotify playlist. And like there's this guy called Elijah
Wood?
Fox. No. Well, I mean, there is a guy called Elijah Wood, but he doesn't make piano albums. This guy Elijah Fox is so fucking good. He's such a good piano player. He just put out a new album called Hydra, and
Oh,
it's sick. What?
I want to add to my answer.
Okay, go ahead.
A really good and easy way to become a cooler person is to listen to Model Actress and go to Model Actress shows.
Yeah. I've known another band that I follow just played a show with them recently.
And they did like Europe. Was it in Europe?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's Tropical Fuck Storm or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's the guy from The Drones.
Yeah.
That's also a badass band.
Yeah, they're sick. Model Actress.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to be a cooler person to
Okay.
me. That's like...
I'll add them to the list.
Yeah.
I'll add them to the top of the list. They'll go above Queens of the Stone Age. And
Wait, you haven't done the Model
Turnstile.
Actress thing yet?
all right, everybody calm the fuck down. Let's end the podcast. Goodbye, everybody. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, all that shit. Thanks for coming on, Sam. Sam digresses.